Right. Rita Ali, how you doing?
Just start off, I'm here to learn. The verses I'm going to bring up, there's probably a deeper explanation to them, so that you probably know and I don't. So just want to get that out here.
Fair enough.
Okay, so it was two different points that you want to focus on. One was the Allah of Islam is not God, and the second was that the God of the Bible, or Jesus, is not the Most High. Like those two, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll start with, and I'm assuming that we're going by like the Christian definition of what God is. Is that fair?
Just, the one creator of all things, all knowing, all powerful,
Got you. Okay. So starting with the first point, Allah of Islam is not God. So the first thing is I use the description of God given in Isaiah 40:28, which is the Lord. It was 4 criterias. Number 1, the Lord is the everlasting God. Number 2, the creator of the ends of the earth. Number 3, he doesn't grow tired or weary. And number 4, his understanding none can fathom. So that was Isaiah 40:28. So then I went to the Quran, verse 2:55. I don't know if you want to pull it up.
How long have you been a Muslim?
All my life, but I'm trying to learn. The truth is out there somewhere, wherever it is. I'll leave everything for it. So
that's good to hear. It's okay. So go ahead and
yeah. So then I went to Quran 2:55. If you want to open it up, so you could read along with me. And
what was the first one that you quoted in the Bible? What was that verse?
Isaiah 40:28.
Isaiah 40:28. Okay. And then in the Quran, you're quoting chapter 2, verse 255.
And the reason why I chose these two is because the descriptions like almost aligned perfectly. So the first criteria given in Isaiah 40 was he's the everlasting God. And 2:255, it says he is ever living. Okay. And then in the second criteria is the creator of all of the earth. 2:255 says everything in the earths, everything the heavens and the earth and their creation belongs to him. And then the third criteria was he doesn't grow tired or weary. And then 2:255 says he doesn't grow drowsy or sleepy. And then the fourth criteria was his understanding is beyond our grasp. And then 2:255 explicitly says no one can grasp his knowledge. So my conclusion based on that is that since the description of Allah in Islam aligns perfectly with the description of God in Isaiah 40:28, the Allah of Islam, his description is God.
Okay. All right. I see your line of reasoning, that they share similar qualities. So therefore he fits the criteria of being God. I understand. So this would be, I want to ask you this. So would you agree then, along with this, when it says he's the creator of everything and the everlasting one, that includes that he's all powerful? That is a criteria. Okay. And to be all powerful means that he is self-sustaining. He does not need any help to do anything. If he needed help to do anything outside of himself, then he would not be all powerful and therefore not God. Correct?
Yeah, he's all powerful. He could do everything.
Okay. All right. So with Islam, then, let me ask you this from what you know. Is Allah capable of having a son if he wanted to?
He's capable of doing everything that doesn't limit him. So everything within his nature. So I'd say that having a son goes against his nature because it's attributing human qualities to God, which limits him. And anything.
What do you mean by human? What do you mean by human qualities?
Having a son, essentially, because then you're creating like another person with divinity, and like sharing divinity with someone else limits you because you can't have two fully infinite powers because it's a mathematical contradiction.
But that wouldn't necessarily be two infinite powers. It would be one, just with two persons that share that infinite power. So if I'm going with you though, let me grant you that what you're saying, that he couldn't do this because it would mean that his power is limited, and that's kind of an internal contradiction if there's another person who has some infinite type of power. So,
sorry, my volume cut out for a second. Can you just repeat that sentence? Sorry.
Yeah. So I was saying let's if I'm going with you that it would basically be an internal contradiction to Allah to be able to have a son, which would mean that like it's the son is another source of infinite power other than Allah. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, essentially, because it's like dividing up God.
Okay. All right. So I want to show you a verse to get your thoughts on it. Okay. And it's chapter 39, verse 4.
39, verse 4. Okay. I'm sorry. Just give me a second.
Yep. Take your time, man. Ain't no rush here. While he's getting that, guys, make sure everybody hits the like button. We got 3,000 people watching on YouTube, 381 watching on TikTok right now. So everybody make sure you smash the like button. Let's get up to 3,000 likes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on.
You there? All right. So go ahead. What does it say?
Had it been God's will to have offspring, he would have chosen whatever he willed of his creation. Glory be to him. He is God, the one, the supreme.
So this says that Allah could have a son if he wanted to, right?
Could I add something real quick?
Sure.
So son, I feel like it could be used ambiguously. It doesn't have to mean biologically through begetting. And you would agree that, like, for example, in the Bible, it calls many people, including like Solomon and Adam, the sons of God, but it doesn't mean it within a literal biological sense or like begetting sense like Jesus, rather in terms of endearment and like signification. So I feel like you could apply that same ruling here, and it doesn't, we don't have to take the literal biological meaning of son and rather through endearment.
Yeah, well, with this, it actually says offspring, right? So, which is the word walid, which actually means a son from yourself, like your very own son. It's not a metaphorical son or figurative. It's an actual son of yours. So, this is what it's talking about. It's saying that he can actually have offspring. If he wanted to, he could have offspring with any of his creation if he chose to.
So what I'd say to that is, I'm ignorant on the matter. It's a good point. I have to do personal research on that because I don't want to speak of things I'm not knowledgeable on. Good
Fair
point.
enough.
I'm definitely going to look into it.
Fair enough.
Looking into the reasoning behind it. But that's a fair point brought by you.
Yep. Fair enough. Okay. So there's another layer to this. Okay. There's another layer to this. All right. So because with this saying that Allah could have offspring if he wanted to, and he could just choose from any of his creation. Well, then this kind of goes against this idea that, well, if Allah was, he can't have a son because then that would, I guess, limit him or contradict his own nature or something like that. Maybe he can have a son, he can have offspring in a way that doesn't contradict his nature. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm eating a protein shake. That doesn't contradict his nature. Now, here will be my next question, okay?
Wait, just before we move on, could I just add one thing?
Yeah.
I feel like the fact that it says he would have chosen one of his like creation to be his offspring, that like completely contradicts the point of offspring being biological, because it's saying like he's choosing from already existing creation, which one of them is going to be his offspring.
Yeah.
So
There's an interpretation that when he says he could have chosen from what he creates, whatever he willed, that he's talking about what he would have an offspring with. So it's not that what he could have chosen from whatever he created would have been the son. Oh, that could be. That's a valid interpretation, I think. There's another one that suggests that it's talking about him getting with someone to have a son.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that sounds like kind of bizarre. Like,
it does, but I'm gonna show you why it's not totally bizarre. Let me show you why. Okay. Gotcha. So if you go to chapter 6, verse 101.
Yeah, just give me a second. So repeat 6:101. You said?
Yeah, 6:101.
Gotcha. Give me a sec. Sorry.
So like I agree with you, and firsthand that sounds a little crazy, but because of this verse, in light of this one, it's not all that off.
Okay. Yeah, I have it open. Oh, you want me to read it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. He is the originator of the heavens and earth. How could he have children when he has no mate? He created all things and has perfect knowledge of everything. Right.
So you see how it says that, he's Allah. He's the greatest. He says,
all right. So in the meantime, while you were gone, I did open up the tafsir for the verse for 39:4.
394. Okay.
And I'm just gonna
Which one?
Tafsir al-Mizan.
Nizam. Who's that?
I'm a Shia, that's why. So that's
Oh, you're Shia.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. All right, go ahead. What do you say?
So that's like our main one, basically. It's like the Ibn Kathir of it.
Okay. So, thank you for that. I didn't know that.
So it summarizes, it makes two main points. First off, it says that by God, by offspring, it appears that it's meant merely as an honorific status rather than a metaphysical one. That was the first point made. And the second point made was the word that was used at the beginning for had it been, though it is a conditional clause used to show an impossibility. So those were the 2 points that were made.
Yeah, so there's it doesn't make sense to me if I'm going to critically think about that. I hear what he's saying. It says had it been, or if Allah had willed to do this, it says he could. So it doesn't seem like it's an impossibility when it explicitly says he could do it if he wanted to, you know? So that doesn't really add up to me. But as far as like an honorific title or like having an honorific relationship with him, again, I don't see that based on the text, but I do understand that is an interpretation. It's an interpretation. I think you can go either way. My thing is like, even if let's say that this is only talking like figuratively, like you're his offspring or his son in a figurative sense, not that you are begotten from him. In 6:101, it demonstrates that Allah could have a son if he had a mate, but he doesn't have a mate.
I feel like there's a difference between saying he could have a son if he had a mate, and saying that he doesn't have a mate and he also won't have a son because he doesn't have a mate. So I feel like there's a big difference between saying he could have a mate and the reason that he doesn't have a son is because he doesn't have that mate, and saying that it's
well, let's think through this really quick. So it says how can, right? Meaning, so it's talking about his ability.
Yeah.
How can he have a son when he doesn't have a mate? Right. So this is saying that Allah can't have a son unless he has a mate to have a son with. So,
but there's a difference between saying like unless and because. Like I feel like this verse doesn't explicitly give the possibility of him having a mate. It's just showing how unlogical the idea of him having a son is.
Well, I can agree that it's not saying that it's necessarily possible for him to have a mate, or that he will have a mate or whatever. Yeah. But it's highlighting whether or not he can have a son or not. It's saying that he would need a mate to do it. Now, is it possible for him to have a mate? Probably not. Who knows? Probably not. Which is why he can't have a son. That's what I would say. That it's impossible for him to have a mate. Therefore, it's impossible for him to have a son because he can't have a mate.
So, would you claim that these two verses explicitly show that Allah does have the ability of having a son? Would you claim that?
I would, yes. At least chapter 6, verse 101, 39:4. Yeah, I would say that. Yeah,
but you would also agree that there are interpretations that would resolve the issue.
I don't think the interpretation resolves it if it goes against what the text says. That's my issue. Like I can hear an interpretation, right? If it doesn't line up with what is being said, like for example, what you shared earlier, the interpretation that this is a conditional impossibility. It literally says explicitly he could do it if he wanted. So it's not impossible. So that's an interpretation that like literally contradicts the text. So I'm saying that there are interpretations. I don't think that they're valid.
Yeah.
Based on
okay. But would you say I just want to focus on the interpretation, the one that makes the most sense to me, which was that it's an honorific status. That's the interpretation I'd want to focus on because the other ones don't really make that much sense, like the conditional impossibility and whatever. Mm-hmm. You'd say that like the interpretation. So can you like tell me why the interpretation is false, that it's an honorific status?
Sure, because this is one is talking about an offspring. The word walid is used as a physical son or like a literal son. That's how it's used throughout the Quran. Walid, it's your actual son. So to suddenly say, oh well, this is actually being used as honorific doesn't really make sense. It's ad hoc. It's out of nowhere. Secondly, the context is Allah is he's refuting this idea that he has children. Like they're saying he has children in both contexts. In chapter 39, verse 4, and 6:101, if you read the verses prior and after, he's addressing people who are saying he has children, right? So, and when he says it, this is his rebuttal. His rebuttal is, if Allah had willed to take a son, he could have chosen from whatever he created, whatever he willed. But exalted is he above that, right? He is Allah, the one prevailing. So he's above doing that. This is his rebuttal. Mm. So saying that this is just an honorific title or position someone can have is not, it doesn't match with the context, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, honestly, fair point. I have to do more research on it. I'm ignorant on the matter. So that's a good point. And then let's say we did move on from that premise. What's the next premise that would continue the debate?
Absolutely. So the next premise is that, okay, he can't have a son by himself. He would need help to do it, which would mean he's not all powerful and therefore not God. Okay,
got it. So the line of reasoning would be that he has the ability to create a son, but then 6:101 says that he doesn't have a mate and therefore he can't have a son, meaning Correct. That he needs a mate to have a son.
Correct.
Okay, fair point. I'd have to look into that. I'm gonna be honest, I'm ignorant on the matter.
Sure.
So definitely have to look into like the context of all the verses. I don't want to take up too much time from the stream and whatnot.
No, bro, this is what we do this for, man. We try to find honest people we can talk to and build with, you know. So with somebody like you've come humbly, you know what I'm saying? You're being reasonable. I could talk to somebody like you all day and any day. So yeah, I'm serious, man. You'll see if I don't know if you're gonna stick around and watch the. Okay, well you're gonna see what I have to deal with on a daily basis, man. But yeah, so is that all you wanted, or did you want to ask about Jesus?
It was because that was the first part. The Allah of Islam is God, and then the second part was Jesus is the God of the Bible, or Jesus is the Most High.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So I'm also basing this argument on, there's two proofs for Jesus or the God of the Bible not being the Most High. The first one was based on the description in Isaiah 40:28. The point that I wanted to give is that there were two criterias in Isaiah 40:28. One was that he doesn't grow tired or weary. And the second was that his understanding is infinite. His knowledge is infinite. So my counter against that was Genesis 9:13-15, which was the covenant of the rainbow in order to remind God. And there could be a deeper meaning to this that I don't know of. So if you want to enlighten me, share. But basically what I would say is that if God did need reminding provided in these verses from Genesis 9 from 13-15, then it would contradict two of the criterias given in Isaiah 40:28. One, that his knowledge is infinite, because if you need reminding, then your knowledge isn't truly infinite at all times. And two, that the not growing weary, because if you need reminding, then your knowledge grows weary. So those would be that's basically the first proof for the God of the Bible not being the Most High.
Yeah. So interesting. So in Genesis 9, where it talks about how God is going to remember the promise he makes by the sign of the rainbow, right? It's figurative speech communicating God's promise and design, how he'll always remember. Like, for example, there's verses in the Bible that says, how God is going to forgive your sins, wipe away your sins, and remember them no more, right? That doesn't mean that he forgot what you did. It's just that it's not going to count against you anymore, right? Mm-hmm. So in the same way, this promise as a reminder is just a a concrete stance with God that he'll never flood the earth again. Not that he forgot what he said he's not going to do. It's just emphasizing his promise.
Okay, so you just say it's figurative, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
The interpretation would be that it's figurative. Methods. Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
like anthropomorphic language, like being applied to God.
That's a big word. Can you repeat it?
Anthropomorphic language, like when you, like if I said like my car was mad at me today, it slowed down on the road. You know.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like cars don't get mad.
Okay, so yeah, it was basically figurative. That's the interpretation for it. Got it. Understood.
Does that make sense though? Does it flow?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it flows. And then also, because a thought just randomly like appeared, I wasn't thinking about it before, but you said that walad was like the word for offspring.
Offspring or son, like as an actual son. Yeah.
The word ibn, which literally means the son of, like when the Quran says Bani Israel, the children of Israel, which is Jacob. The word ibn is more so used as like literal son. The word walad, I feel like could be used as either, while ibn is like the definite 100% biological literal.
Well, how about this? How about the next time you come, let's explore that and see what we find.
Fair enough. I'll do research on that. Also, do you like post your schedules like ahead of time?
So I'm live so you'll if you go to my like actual YouTube page, it'll tell you my live stream schedule. So I'm live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So
and it's like a different debate topic every time.
Yep, different topics every time. However, with guests that I've come before, we'll continue where we left off if they want to do that. So like with you, we could continue where we left off today.
All right, gotcha. Okay, and then moving on to the second proof, it was that so first off, 1 Samuel 15:29, it says that God is the glory of Israel. He does not lie or regret, for he is not a human being that he should change his mind. And then Numbers 23:19 also says God is not the son of man that he should regret. Specifically the point of regretting, right? So one example I gave from the Bible was Genesis 6:6, where it says the Lord regretted that he had made human beings on earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. So there's a criteria in the Bible given that God doesn't regret, but then also the Bible also says that he regretted putting human beings on earth. So that would be the second proof. Okay, yeah. So again, it'll be more so the same thing. This anthropomorphic language being applied to God, regret, or it's an expression of his displeasure with human beings that he made. So it's not that God is saying he made a mistake, or that he's no, he's just deeply displeased with man's actions, which is why he's going to deal with them differently. Oh, there's something going on your mic. Sorry, it's the heater. My bad. Sorry. I'll is that? Myself while you're talking. Heater. Oh, okay. I'll mute myself when you talk. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure. So with Numbers 23:19, this is what the verse says in full, and the context makes it clear what it's saying about God. Really quick. So he says in 23:19, it says, here it is. For God is not a man that he should lie, nor a son of man that he should change his mind. Has he said, and will he not do it? Or has he spoken, and will he not fulfill it? Right. So what this is talking about is God not lying or changing his mind, going back on his word, like how man goes back on his word. So that's why he finishes off. It says, has he said, and will he not do it? Will he not do what he said he's going to do? Or has he spoken, and will he not fulfill it? So the context of Numbers 23:19, God is not a man that he should lie, nor is he a son of man that he should change his mind or repent or whatever like that. It's that he's not fickle and a liar like man is. When he says something, he's going to do it, right? When he promises something, he's going to fulfill it. Does that make sense? Yeah, I got you.
Mhm.
But just one thing I'd like to add. Like,
Yeah.
I was more accepting of the figurative like interpretation for the last proof, because like you gave an example where it was used in another part of the Bible figuratively.
Mhm.
So would you have like an example where this specific word of like regret or changing your mind was used figuratively in the Bible to
Well, you
support?
talking about Genesis 9?
Yeah, like the word used in Genesis 6:6. Oh yeah, in Genesis 9, when you said the like specific word about remembered, you brought another verse from the Bible where it was used in a figurative sense. So I was just wondering if you could, if the word for regret in Genesis 6, if there was another example where that was used in a figurative sense in the Bible.
I don't have an example of that.
Got it.
That comes to my mind.
Yeah, I know. It's
I
very
don't have
on the spot. I know. So,
yeah, I don't have a verse that comes to my mind of it being used in that way, but I just know that when it comes to like, so the context of Numbers 23 and Genesis 9 are completely two different contexts. One is dealing with, like Numbers is dealing with God's character and his promise with Israel, how he promised not to destroy them, but to preserve them. So he's not going to go back on his word and lie like man does. Genesis 9 is dealing with God's displeasure with human beings and their actions. And so it has nothing to do with necessarily him like making a mistake, but it's communicating his displeasure that he has with human beings, which is why the next line says, and his heart was displeased with them.
okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
yeah. I hope that makes sense. Cause the Bible talks about how everything that God makes is good. And he gave man free will and stuff like that. And obviously they're going to do, if they do evil, it's going to be a displeasure to him in his sight. So,
and then last thing. So I'm sure you're aware of the story in Matthew 15, where like the Gentile woman came to Jesus, and then he initially said, "I was only sent to the like lost sheep of Israel."
Mhm.
So, in this case, because we've already established that God doesn't change his mind. So in this case, would this be an example of Jesus changing his mind? Because initially he told her, "No, I was only sent to the lost sheep of Israel," and then afterwards, even again, she asked again, and then he said, "It's not right to take food from the children and throw it to dogs." And then finally, the third time, he accepted and granted her request.
yeah. So one, he never tells her no, and that's important. He never tells her no. He just, one, he ignores her. Then two, he says, "I was only sent for the lost sheep of Israel." And then he gives the analogy, it's not good to give the bread of the children to the dogs. Let the children eat first, then the puppies, right? And then like, so what we see here is her faith is clearly being tested. He's testing her, and he's doing this in front of an audience, showcasing her faith. So her faith is just being tested. That's all. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you. Sorry. I'd say like you should probably move on because there's a bunch of people in the chat. They're saying like I've been taking a long time. So
I don't care about them, but yeah, we could continue next time.
I got you.
Remember, we're on our own time, man. Don't nobody tell us when we
got you. Got you. Thanks for having me. And hopefully we'll continue. It was nice talking to you, learning from you.
Talking to you as well, man. Take care of yourself, okay?
Take care.